Good morning and welcome to today's webinar with Norcal PTAC and the California Department of General Services. This is how to do business with the state of California. My name is James Forrest. I am a program coordinator and procurement specialist in Norcal PTAC, and our featured presenter today from the California OSDS is Lucy Ann Radimski, Business Outreach Liaison. So thanks for being here, Lucy Ann. And I just want to mention, I've already mentioned this some in the beginning, so I'm going to skip the housekeeping slide. I just want to talk real briefly about PTAC. I think most of you, maybe half of you, were here on Tuesday, so I won't spend too long. But basically, we're the Northern California Procurement Technical Assistance Center, so it's nice that we have an acronym there, Norcal PTAC for short. We provide client services within this service area, so if you have a business located in this service, map you see here in green, one of these 15 counties in California, then you're eligible to apply for free services with us. And basically what that means is you can sit down with a procurement specialist and go over any of the processes of selling your goods and services to the government. So really, whether it's doing market research, getting your certifications, registering in the different databases, just having a coach to sort of show you the ropes. We don't do the work for you, but we can certainly help make sure you understand the lay of the land. We can also set you up with a custom bid matching profile. That's pretty neat. It scrapes the internet for bid opportunities that match criteria you work out with your procurement specialist. And we're always putting on webinars like this one today. So with these services, we've helped our clients win in just 1 year into 2021, more than $500 million. So $500 million. Quite a bit of money going into small business pockets that we're trying to help out. And that is also what Lucy Ann is here today to do, is to help out small businesses. There's a lot of resources available to you, and we can help connect you with anybody you're interested in. We are Norcal PTAC. We're totally free. We're a nonprofit center. You can sign up on our website there. If you're not in this service area, you're probably in the service area of another PTAC. There's actually 96 PTACs across the country, and we are all nonprofit centers funded by the federal and state government. So if you're interested in PTAC services, but you're not in one of these 15 counties in California, go ahead and click on that link once you get these slides, or just Google the name of your county, and PTAC usually comes up, but you can look up your local PTAC. We have our front office contact information down there. You can see our phone number and our email address. Feel free to reach out to us if you have any questions. And all right, let's get this show on the road. Lucy Ann Radimski here. She gave the presentation on Tuesday. It was an excellent introduction, and now we're getting more into what to do if you're already certified how to do business with the state. So thanks so much for joining us again, Lucy Ann, and take it away.
Great. Hi, everyone. Again, I'm happy to be here with you. I wanted to take the moment to just welcome you again and ensure that you know that the Office of Small Business and Disabled Veteran Business Enterprise Services is a group of individuals that can both help you with certifying your business, as well as understanding and navigating the solicitation process, and helping you understand what resources are available to you. In this presentation today, there's going to be some overlap from Tuesday. The purpose is also to kind of make sure this information is, concretized in your minds, and that you understand it clearly. So today we're going to talk again about the California State Contracts Register. This is the place you go to for the active solicitations. We're then going to talk about updating and improving your profile. Now, understandably, it'll be kind of a broad swath, but there are opportunities for you to get one-on-one assistance in updating and strengthening your profile. We'll talk about skippers again, researching past purchases. We'll certainly, again, talk about the advocates and how they can help you in engaging with departments across the state. Reciprocity Partners, very key, knowing that your certification has relevance across varying other organizations, includes cities and counties. Resources available to you, of course, the Small Business DVBE Emergency Registry. We're also going to be introducing the diversity data collection program that has just been launched within DGS and through eProcure. And then again, we're going to reiterate the commercial useful function, because that is incredibly important in terms of serving you and your ability to serve the state effectively, as well as protecting you from potential prime contractors wanting to use you as a small business pass-through. So we'll start with how to search competitive solicitations. Again, I'm sure all of you here have hopefully visited or know eProcure well. If I could get just a quick count of how many of you are actually certified. If you could put Y in the chat or N in the chat, Y meaning yes and meaning no, that would be really helpful. I want to make sure that we can help to ensure that this information is pertinent to you. And by all means, there's no silly question. Please throw out the questions and I will answer them to the best of my abilities. And I accept when I can make small errors, but I will fix them. There's a lot of information that comes at all of us, and I want to make sure that we're all, have the tools that we need to be successful. So, as you know, to access any live solicitations, you can certainly go through the California State Government register right here, and it says start search, but you should be logged in because it'll allow you to access all the information on the solicitation pages. As you can see here, we've come to the search page of the California State Contracts Register. It allows us to put in the solicitation name. And as you recall, event is used in place of solicitation. And then the event ID, which is the solicitation number, and or the department you want to search and see what solicitations they have active currently. We also have the ability, of course, to do an advanced search, which will then allow us to do more keyword searches, the UNSPSC codes, service areas, and contract license type. We find ourselves, of course, at the work center. And this is the page, once you're logged in, that you will come and see what types of information we have. Currently, this individual is not currently certified. So this is where they can go and do the search. You don't have to be certified to be able to access the search. This is the advanced search page, as I had mentioned before, that allows you to do not only the start date from and to, but also the UNSPSC codes, service areas, and the contractor license type. This, once you've done your search, you can then have a list of solicitations that come up based on the elements that you've provided. And you can click on a specific solicitation of interest to you. And this is the page you're going to come from, as we saw on Tuesday. And there's some key bits of information. Not only is the department of interest to you, but also the event end date. And as I had mentioned on Tuesday, this is a critical piece of information because there's very little leeway given in terms of not making this exact date and time. For example, we had an individual who faxed their solicitation. The fax was not fully received before the date and time allotted. So they sent it at maybe 1:59. The fax was completed at 2:02. They therefore were not considered in the solicitation process because they did not meet the time. So when I say that they're very stringent, I mean it. So you should be planning to have your solicitation ready an hour or more or a day prior to, because most of the solicitations now are available to be sent in digitally, but some organizations maybe do not have access to that. So there is a paper version and a drop-off opportunity for you as well. The contact information. Many companies have questions related to solicitations, particularly those companies who are just beginning their contracting with the state, adventure. And so the contact information is very key. So in this case, it's a gentleman by the name of Maxwell Moore. Now the phone number is certainly very helpful, but you can imagine in COVID, most people are not sitting at their desks. Understandably, these numbers can be transferred to their teams or maybe to their cell phones. But the greatest opportunity for success is through email. And on top of it, it'll allow you to be able to track your communication. The view event package. Now, this is where all the pertinent information is held in terms of what are the requirements, kind of the overview of the solicitation, what are the expectations. There's also at times a checklist, so it helps you keep track of everything that you have to put together in the package to be considered for this solicitation. Understandably, mistakes are made, pieces are left out, and within reason, some departments may be willing to go back to you to say, oh, you've missed this. It is very rare, however, so do not count on that. There's also Q&A, question and answer documents that may be included as well. A number of the solicitations may have a pre-bid conference, which you can see right below the contact information. Some of the pre-bid conferences are mandatory, but most are not. But those are really good events to attend if you are interested in the solicitation and in the case that they do have it. But they will publish all questions and answers received by interested bidders, and as well any question and answer that was proposed or answered during the pre-bid conference. So the view event package is a plethora of information, but needs to be read very carefully because details matter. The post vendor ads. Again, this is an opportunity to market your services. In the case that the solicitation might be too large, you can provide potential subcontracting services. Let them know. So on the vendor ads, it's very simple, it's free, it allows you to market your goods and services to potential prime bidders that may have a lack of a specific specialty and that you could provide that. It's also great for small businesses because many of the primes are looking for that small business edge and that benefit that they get by using small businesses within the solicitation. And at times, small businesses are an inherent part of a solicitation, so a small business must be used. So there's incredible opportunities, but just get your name out there. It's a great way to market. Wanted to take a moment, again, most of it is repetitive from Tuesday, but for those of you who potentially did not show on Tuesday, if you have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
I don't see any questions. Oh, I do have actually, let me see. This looks like a question of it's probably too specific for here, so we'll address that offline. I don't see any questions right now.
Great. Okay, so the first session, the webinar, was talking about where do you go to set up your profile? Well, you go to eProcure. Where do you go to, register and certification and certify your business? eProcure. So now that you are registered and certified, you have a profile within eProcure. What is included in this profile? Your business information, of course, which is your business name, email, addresses, keywords, and UNSPSC code. Keywords in this case is a word that describes your good or service. One of the things that we want to make sure that you understand is that it's really important that you have specific keywords that tend to be one word. There's some cases where two words are appropriate, and also in a singular form, not in the plural form, is a best practice. And a keyword could also be a brand. Some of your sectors may require that, and then brands might be really important. Also certifications potentially as well. So these are some example keywords for an office supply business. This is pretty straightforward. You can get a sense as to what's going on. You'll see that it's all singular, not plural. Again, you want to use keywords to enhance and really define what types of goods and services that you provide. Industry-specific words are really helpful for those in the know, but then there are certainly a lot of buyers that are looking at it from a very layman's approach. So any way that you can kind of combine industry-specific and kind of layman's terms are to your benefit. And these keywords are going to be the literal keys to how buyers find you. So the more the merrier, and understandably, really, keep it focused, of course, on what you actually provide. So again, I mentioned some of the best practices in terms of keywords, including common words and jargon in your industry, which we talked about, market specific. Synonyms, there are many ways to say certain things. And so it's really good to kind of capture all various words that might describe the same good or service that you provide. Looking at the UNSPSC codes definition, also a great way to find new words to add to your keyword lists. And you also might benefit from looking at your competitors' profiles. And that might also help you understand how are they marketing themselves? What UNSPSC codes are they looking at? So everything's public, thankfully, and very transparent in the state. So you have access to that type of information. So as I mentioned, the UNSPSC codes. Now, in Tuesday's webinar, I mentioned that it was around 40,000, I believe, initial, and they've reduced it to about 14,000. And that was in hopes to shrink down the potential codes, but also to make it simpler, because there were just way too many codes available and it was getting very complicated. So as you can see here, there's a hierarchy associated. There's the parent code, which has the zeros. Then you've got, that subtext category, and then you've got the subcategory, and then the subcategory. And all of it is meant to really be, pulling more specific information, because there are very specific needs that the state has, and there are very specific products that you can offer. So we're trying to kind of meld the two together and make sure that everyone's speaking the same language. How do you choose the right UNSPSC codes? Well, using the keywords, you can use those keywords to find UNSPSC codes that match that. You can certainly look on the United Nations website. You can, again, as I mentioned, use the other profiles of businesses that have been successful in contracting with the state, looking at what UNSPSC codes they've used, and that are your direct competition. And then, again, the codes from past purchases are a great way as well. So how are UNSPSC codes used? Basically, just like keywords. They enable you to be found by buyers, but also it helps you to define what solicitations you might be interested in if you have requested to receive notifications. So it's really helpful so that you can ensure that you're getting the right information at the right time. So I'm going to open it up to any questions anyone might have. Again, fairly straightforward, but again, if you need assistance, you can always reach out to us at businessoutreach@dgs.ca.gov, and we're happy to help you.
All right, this is just a reminder, it's a little easier to track questions if we get them in the Q&A tab, although I will read them from the chat as well. Can more than one email be, Siriams is asking, can more than one email address be added to the event interest notification?
I believe there is an indication that you can have a second contact, but it's important that you make sure that your profiles are always up to date. What I have found is that they've placed an email of an individual that is no longer with the company, and so emails are being sent to the wrong person. One thing I would do is, if appropriate and if possible, I would set up a specific email almost just for state business. That way you're not confusing your emails that you're doing on the day-to-day business with your other clients, but that you know the emails coming into the specific email box is dedicated to everything coming in from the state. So yes, there is indeed an ability to add a second contact, a potential second email, but I would definitely keep in mind that the more you add, the more you have to manage.
Okay. All right, and I'm not sure I fully understand this question. Sriram's also asking, where do we sign up for email notification on Cal eProcure? I only receive my bid match daily listing.
And that is what I'm talking about. So
Right.
and I'm going to show within your profile that the areas where that you can check the box to receive any sort of email notification regarding subcontract opportunities, as well as notifications related to UNSPSC codes that is then mapped on top of service areas that you indicated. And that'll be a little bit further down in this presentation.
Okay, all right, great. And Sriram,
Great question.
I see you have another question, but I think that's probably a better question to just ask Lucianne directly offline. It gets a bit detailed.
Okay, great questions though, thank you, keep them coming. So, funny you should ask that question. Here we are, updating your eProcure notifications. So here we go, we're at the eProcure site, we're logging in. This is our profile, at least the kind of the landing page. And you can see down below under my account, there's actually a button stating manage notifications. So you click on that. And here we have, would you like to receive DVBE subcontract listing notifications? I would say that's resounding yes for everyone. There's never too much information that you can have available to you to know what opportunities might be available to you. So please, within your profile, make sure that you've placed a yes. Here's another one that allows you to get notifications. And this is in regards to event notifications of CSCR bidding opportunities. And as you recall, CSCR is where we go for active solicitations. Another element of this page I want you to pay close attention to that we highly recommend you do is you click on for services statewide. Understandably, many of you may be only able to deliver services in a localized area. But that being said, you may want to know the information because A, it could help you understand, should you be expanding your business to other parts of the state because there's a tremendous demand for your services. So great business market research. It also allows you to kind of understand all the opportunities in terms of, are there areas just outside your presumed service area? So don't limit yourself. Go for services statewide because you might actually find that once you've limited yourself, there may be just the neighboring county over that has an opportunity that you've missed out on. So here we have the UNSPSC selection. This is a really critical page as well because this allows you to list your UNSPSC codes as part of your profile. And as you can see here, I've listed paper as a description. So I've used a keyword to then get a list of potential UNSPSC codes. Once they're listed in the search result, I'll need to click on those that I want to move over to my notification UNSPSC selection. So that's a critical, you just don't click it and boom, it's there. You have to move it over to the other side. So here they are by magic and my interaction. It's moved over, and now these are the UNSPSC codes that I'm using to define my business, and that I want to receive notifications about, and that I want buyers to know that I can provide these goods or services. That was a quick overview on the updating profile side, but again, we're going to do a little bit more work going forward, but I just wanted to kind of stop here and make sure that everyone understands that you access your profile through the eProcure once you've logged in, and that you go to manage notifications, and there's several areas that we want you to pay attention to in terms of service area and receiving notifications about subcontractor experience or opportunities, and also the CSCR notifications based on our keyword and UNSPSC profile.
Great, that's super good information. We have a question from Lewis here, which is also a good question. When you respond to a solicitation, how do you find out who got the contract? And that's not exactly about notifications, but.
Absolutely. And so you can find out through skippers once the award happens, and certainly keep in touch with the contract contact on that solicitation. Keep that name on hand because some of the solicitations are then communicated publicly, some are not. So in skippers, it's always going to be there. So once the contract has been awarded, you can go to SCPRS and it will detail who won the contract.
And that SCPRS is within Cal eProcure, right?
Yes, that is the entity that allows you to search past solicitations, which is accessible through the Cal eProcure portal. And it's accessible whether or not you're registered or certified. You can access it through the landing page on Cal eProcure.
I'll drop a link in the chat here for the direct link to SCPRS.
Great, thank you.
I don't see any other questions for right now.
Okay. So here's some more best practices on updating your certification profile. And this is in relation to managing your certification. So there's going to be moments where you're going to want to update the UNSPSC codes. So, you know, you've already kind of set up your profile, but there might be a time where you've got a new service you want to add, or there's a new service area that you want to add in the case you don't want to do the all state version. You go to amend application, and then you'll come to this page here. Now, as you'll see above, you have registration, business, owners, affiliate, taxes, other. Other is the area where you're going to be able to do the type of work we're talking about. Mind you, you cannot just click on other. You have to go to the bottom of each page, so the bottom registration page, click save and continue, and pass through the other pages until you get to the other page, which is listed here. So this is where you can update your service areas, you can update your keywords, and you can update your UNSPSC codes. And as you see, it's pretty simple. They have the ability to just add with the little plus button an additional keyword. So there's just a lot of opportunity here to be able to make sure that your profile is up to date. So you can add a service area just below by clicking that button. Here seem to be having a little. Okay, hold on. There you go. So as I mentioned, you can just click on the plus button and add more keywords. You can add additional UNSPSC classification selections. Or you can delete. So you have the ability to, and you have control, and you are empowered to update and strengthen your profiles. One of the things I would also like to mention is that we offer one-on-one services in terms of helping you to look over your profile, see where areas that we would like you to kind of maybe embellish or strengthen the way that you've described your company. And we can help you do that research as well in terms of your direct competition, to the SCPRS. So there's ways that you can be supported if this seems a little bit much and a little bit overwhelming. And just one more thing y'all have to do. So we appreciate everything you do as a small business. I want to make sure that you know that you are properly supported. So it's as easy as just adding a UNSPSC classification, and then you can certainly, again, do the search filters to have a list of additional UNSPSC codes, and then you would just add them to your list. And as companies are evolving and as demands are evolving, it's really important that you maintain your profile. And I'll say it again, it is your calling card to the state. So if this is not updated and accurate, you may be potentially losing out on opportunities, and we don't want to see that. So if you have any other questions, you know, there's building up your profile, and then there's updating your profile. So we've, you know, covered both of those right now.
I think I have a question here again from Sriram saying they actually have 2 email addresses in the notification contacts, but they're wondering if the notification is only sent to the first address. But that doesn't sound right, right? It should go to both, right?
You would think so. I can certainly check on that, because with any system, sometimes there's little bugs And so I'm happy to do some research whether or not, and certainly on your end, if you're not receiving it on one, I can address that with our IT services group. So sometimes there's little bugs that eProcure has in its system. So by all means, this would not be the first time we've heard something like this, but we can see if there's something we can do to ensure that it goes to both.
Great. And I'll put Lucienne's contact information. It's on the end of the slides. I'll drop it in the chat as well.
Great. Okay.
That's all we have for right now. So let's keep it going.
Cool. So this is what I had mentioned in the past about skippers and being able to locate competitive information and market research in terms of not only what departments are purchasing what and when, but also how they're purchasing. And why how you're purchasing is interesting is the contract vehicle. And so in our previous webinar, we talked about the SB option, which is an incredibly exciting opportunity for small businesses to compete against small businesses. It really levels the playing field. So looking at the contract vehicle type is actually pretty critical. I would also mention that some contract vehicles that are leveraged procurement agreements, including the MSA, Master Services Agreement, or the CMAS, those are contracts that vehicles that already have a pre-qualified list of vendors. So if you're not within that pre-qualified list, then you cannot bid on that specific solicitation, or they will not reach out to you. Now, what's important about that is that maybe there's an opportunity for you to get onto that list. So I would definitely do your due diligence and research those leverage procurement agreements, because those are the ones that have that kind of initial call out for potential vendors that are then screened and placed on a pre-qualified vendor list. And so that state departments know this has been, it's a qualified group of individuals that they can reach out to directly. It still maintains, it's still a competitive bid situation, but it shrinks the pool significantly because you've passed through a filter that has been defined by the state and its various departments. So again, that's an added level of information that we could certainly walk you through, but I won't be speaking about in detail today. But this, again, Skippers is an incredibly important resource. So when you're on the eProcure page, you can access it through various ways. One is through quick links on the top, or you can go through the public procurement information button, which is located on the bottom quadrant of the four rectangles you see, and is within the search for component, and it's the second bullet point. And this is the page you'd be led to. Understandably, you can search on department. You can search on keyword, which is description. You can also search on the start or end dates of the solicitations in terms of when it was awarded, a specific time, like 2016, to the most recent date, 2022. One of the best practices that I would highly encourage you to utilize is keep the dates within reason. 5-6 years, potentially a good kind of sweet spot. If you open it up to the entire system, you will be waiting for a significant amount of time for it to populate because there's that much information in it. So be smart about the dates that you're looking for. 2015 is still probably within reason if the latest date you'd want to go towards, but just something to be aware of. There's just a tremendous amount of information. So the more that you're asking it to search, the more time it'll take. The acquisition method is something I've also mentioned. And another acquisition method is emergency procurements. And so that is certainly something top of mind within California. And we'll talk a little bit later about the emergency registry, which we have recently stood up specifically for small businesses and DVBs, so that they can be found and that they can raise their visibility amongst buyers. So you can see here is a list. The Excel, the columns go on for days. So this is just a small snapshot of all the information you'll be able to access. So as you can see, you can actually access the purchasing documentation. You can see the department name. You can see the total of the contract, the start and end date of the contracts. What's important about the end date is that if it's a reoccurring purchase, that potentially is an opportunity for you to get ahead of the game before the contract actually ends and reach out to that department and talk about the services that you can provide as well, because you want them to know who you are. And particularly in the case of a small SB option type of solicitation, they're only going to be reaching out to small businesses. So be sure to be top of mind with the various buyers if the purchase is reoccurring, and also if it's done through an SB option, because, and of course, every contract vehicle is an opportunity for you, but SB option in particular is only given to small businesses or DVBEs. And as I mentioned as well, one of the individuals on your team that serves as both as a support system to buyers and also to small businesses are the DVBE Advocates. And this list can be accessible through eProcure. And an advocate's role is to serve as a resource to you in terms of what are the types of solicitations moving forward. Some departments have upcoming solicitations listed plainly on their website, some do not. So advocates are a great resource to find out what might be coming down the pike. Secondly, these individuals help to ensure that buyers are keeping small businesses top of mind. They're keeping files about the small businesses that contact them and that are relevant to what types of goods and services that they are in need of. And I want to reiterate that point because it's important that you're contacting advocates of departments that actually purchase your goods and services. It serves no one, and certainly not yourself, that's a waste of your time, to pound the door of a department that's clearly not interested in what you have to offer. So do yourself a favor and do the advocates a favor and do your research. Go into Skippers, understand the purchasing history of a department. I promise you, you will feel empowered and really excited about the potential of partnering with these state departments. Advocates also help to train the buyers. They also serve as a point of contact for prompt payment. For those of you who have been lucky enough to get a contract, prompt payment can be an issue at times. And we want to ensure that you, by providing the services that you do, that you are getting paid on time. And so that is your go-to for prompt payment issues. It's not the contract manager per se, but the advocate is really there to help you out. You can certainly incorporate the contract manager because they will be involved at some point, but the advocate is the individual that will take that forward for you. So here we are, back on our favorite landing page of eProcure, and we are at the Find Training and Resources. And this is where we're going to find the advocate list. And so you're going to head down to the Research and Marketing segment, and you'll see the Contact a Small Business and DVBE Advocate. This list is populated with all the varying advocate names, and you can download the directory on that page, as well as it identifies in yellow those departments that have an SB first policy. Now, understandably, because of the mandated levels of 25% participation of small business and 3% participation of DBEs across procurement contracts within every state department needs to be small business friendly because it's a benefit to our economy, but also it is a responsibility of the department to ensure that at least 25% participation of small business and 3% DVBE participation on all contracts. So again, the highlighted areas are designating the departments that have SB first policies. Now, this is a structured policy that basically mandates their procurement staff to kind of approach every solicitation through the eyes of a small business opportunity. So we are encouraging all departments to incorporate this, more standardized and specific SB first policy, but understandably, again, they do have a responsibility across the board brought down by the legislature. So everyone is small business friendly when they can be. As you see here. I also want to bring to light the column around construction. So small business public works company should definitely look at these this column and focus on the departments that have an X, because most likely those organizations are going to be potential partners for you. We're going to kind of go slightly off because the capability statement is also a calling card used to be sent to advocates. Now, understandably, there's no right way to do a capability statement in sense of design, but in terms of information, what's really critical is that we clearly say your name, we understand what you provide, we know potentially, what certifications that you have. We also want to know maybe who you've worked for in the past, particularly when it comes to public sector. It's always good to know, but it does not inhibit you from having access to contracts if you have no public sector experience. And I want to reiterate that as well, because sometimes there is a misnomer that that is a requirement. It is not, but it just certainly helps. But we also want to know any other types of information that might help. I will tell you that NAICS codes that you can see here, the NAICS, are not used by the state. So that is not necessarily a piece of information to place on your capability statement when working with the state. And then we also want to make sure we have the information to be able to contact you. So contact information as well. So it is another area where PTACs are incredibly gifted in terms of helping you create and really strengthen. Our staff cannot help you to edit it. It is kind of outside of our domain. So I want to make that very clear. That is one piece of the pie we can't really engage on because we have to remain unbiased. Does anyone have any questions or want to share a piece of information regarding working with advocates?
I don't see any communications in the chat or the Q&A, but
Okay.
yeah, just a reminder, the folks are welcome to put stuff in there.
I must be really good how I'm explaining this.
You are nailing it, Lucianne.
Okay, so again, this is partially my baby. I had the pleasure and honor to work on the team that built the Small Business DVB Emergency Registry. As I had mentioned on Tuesday, the overarching budget that was that the state had available to them in purchasing goods and services was $12 billion with a B dollars in 2019 and 2020. We saw, the percentage that was awarded to small business and DVBEs, but we also, that I mentioned, $2 billion of that was only associated with emergency procurement. Historically, small businesses have not achieved high percentage of emergency procurement dollars, and we want to change that. One of the ways we're going to do that is by providing this portal, which allows small businesses and DVBEs to register their company as being able and willing and ready to provide emergency related services. And those services are just very broad. It's like building a city. You have everything from food to vehicle repair to miscellaneous services that help capture maybe areas that are not evident within the construction or within base camp. And I'll show you those categories, a portion of them in 2 slides or so. But one of the things that we want to hope to do is engage buyers to look at this very valuable, not only in terms of quantity, but quality of the small businesses and DVBEs they're going to find. Because trust, it's a trust exercise. We trust that those companies that are engaging and registering in this portal can actually provide the services and goods that they state. Because in the terms of an emergency, there's no room for error. People's lives are on the line. So we want to make that very clear. And so that's why we want to ensure that this is not an aspirational goal for small businesses and DVBEs. This is, I am ready as of yesterday goal and reality. So we'll need information around contacts throughout a 24-hour period. Who do we call after hours? We want to know exactly what is it that you provide, and that's where the keywords are going to be really important. We do not use UNSPSC codes in this case. We are basically basing your profile on keywords. So these are some of the categories that we have placed in the system. We are constantly updating and ensuring that these categories represent the actual need. We work diligently with departments that had historically large volume of emergency purchases in terms of trying to define the various categories that they were in need of. And one of the more recent categories we added was construction, because it was believed to have been strong enough to be on its own. So that's important to know, that this is a living registry. We're always looking for feedback to improve it. So engage us, help us do better. So, you know, it's both of our jobs to keep us in check. So what you're going to need when you apply for the emergency registry is that you'll have a certification number. You'll need to add the emergency categories that you fit in. You'll have to give a brief description of products and services, your business address, as well as contact information, both for the primary contact and the emergency contact. The approval process is pretty quick. On the back end, our staff is looking at your profile, ensuring that it's correctly done. We've had instances where suppliers have applied as buyers and buyers have tried to apply as suppliers. And so we really try to manage the quality control. I had the opportunity as well to create and write the entire step-by-step instructions. So please engage it in case that you are interested in the emergency registry. It's there for you. It has plenty of pictures, screenshots, and is as simple as we could possibly make it. So we really want to make sure that everyone feels comfortable and everyone feels supported, that they can access this in an easy and efficient way. And if you have questions, we have an email box dedicated to emergency registry. Please feel free to reach out. Again, it's multiple staff members manning this, so you should be receiving a response in a very timely manner. Another bit of information I wanted to bring to your attention, this is brand new. It was launched last week. As you can imagine, the state of California is an incredibly diverse population, and small businesses are run and created by a diverse population. We want to make sure that we understand who we're doing business with and areas where we could do better. And so this is why this data collection program was started, and it's collected within the Cal eProcure profile. So right now, if you are currently registered and certified, you have another page you can go back to and update your information in terms of your gender or sexual identity, your ethnic identity as well, in order for us to better understand who you are. This information currently is not made public, but the state reserves the right to make public. But this for the benefit of everyone. It's not to create bias. This information will not be used to serve as any sort of bias for contract awarding. This is purely informational because we want to do the best for those building businesses in disadvantaged communities. And we want to ensure that everyone is has the access to tools that helps to level that playing field. We understand it's already difficult to create a business in this environment and to maintain it, but we want to ensure that you know that you have the proper support in areas where they're potentially lacking resources or a network. So again, I highly recommend that you participate, but it is not mandatory. It is optional. So do with what you will, but know that we are doing this so that we can do better as a state in supporting our small businesses and registered businesses that are larger across the entire state. So this is what the page looks like. And you can find all sorts of bits of information if you're looking for more clarity. We also have a website that is dedicated to answering any questions regarding the program itself and this new data collection project. So you can see that on the left-hand side. It's a supplier diversity at dgs.ca.com. And you can certainly also schedule an appointment. I mean, we are open for businesses to come to us engage us in any sort of concerns, opportunities, and success stories. We want to hear it all. This information really kind of gets down to the nitty-gritty as to maybe some questions that you have and that we've already answered. So I would highly recommend that you go through the facts and try to better understand, why this information is being collected. But again, it's for your benefit, we believe, and for the future, the state to be able to understand where our resources need to be applied. This is another area that I am absolutely thrilled about. It's the reciprocity partnerships that we have across the state. Now, when you're certifying your business, it's already a process. You have to get paperwork involved. You have to submit. But it's great to know that that's a one-stop shop in many cases, because your certification is recognized by our reciprocity partners, which include cities and counties, as well as the University of California system. So, I mean, your certification opportunities just blew up. Now, understandably, you cannot access solicitations of our partners through Cal eProcure. It's the certification that they then recognize. So you don't have to recertify your company with these additional partners. But I highly recommend looking at our reciprocity partnership list and better understanding, well, where do I think my goods and services could be most beneficial? And I would most likely say that it's going to be across the board, but choose one or two, three, get engaged with them, register yourself as a potential vendor in their systems so that you can receive potential solicitation notifications as well. Again, no information is too much. You want to be in the best position to know what is out there. And as someone who had done business development for small business, and I also managed that for the state, I can assure you that this is information you're going to want to have at your fingertips. This is what is going to make the difference for your business. I am going to finish off on commercially useful function. It's something that we mentioned on Tuesday. This is critical, and we repeat it over and over again, because if you do not perform CUF and are then found to be guilty of not performing CUF, there is several avenues that we can take. We can take you off the ability to ever bid for a solicitation, which is unfortunate. That's a business development channel cut off to you. And or you could have a financial obligation that could really do quite a bit of damage to your business. And we don't want any of that for you or for anyone. So what is CUF? It means that you're executing a distinct element of the work of the contract. You have a specific role and you're actually performing that role. And that means also managing it, supervising it, and that you're performing work that's actually normal for your firm's business services and functions. You're not going in as a contractor and then cleaning toilets. That's not performing CUF. We also want to ensure that you're negotiating the price, you're determining quality and quantity, that you're taking full responsibility for the work that you're providing to the contract and to the department at hand. And you're also not subcontracting a portion of the work that's greater than expected by industry practices. Now, understandably, I work for a management consulting and IT managed services group. And I can assure you, we did outsource for specialized functions like enterprise architecture, but that was a very specific quantity of work, and we're very good about ensuring that we weren't outsourcing more than we were actually performing as a team. So that's really important. When you're not performing CUF, understandably, it can also be in light of a prime using you as just a pass-through, as a small business benefit. So this CUF is also there to protect small businesses from being used only to serve as a small business benefit to a solicitation and actually not performing work within the contract. So know that it goes both ways. It's not just a responsibility for you to do the work you say you're going to do, but it's also protect you from being used by a prime to solicit your small business certification. As always, outside of the PTAC, there's other resources you can use that the PTAC may not be able to offer you. And if you are a very nascent business, we highly recommend also going to SCORE, which is a network of entrepreneurs and business executives there to help you kind of strengthen and build the core of your business so that you can have a strong foundation and be able to scale more easily. So as you can see, these are the various topics we discussed today. Again, we're just skimming the surface. There's so much available to you, but we really want to ensure that we're taking the baby steps because we want you to be successful. And let's get you good at getting to eProcure, getting your profile set up and strengthened and market ready, and ensuring that you know where to go to find information on who you should be marketing your businesses to within the SCPRS portal. So again, this is a lot of work in and of itself. And when you're ready to move on to additional tasks, we're here for you, and we can take you in a greater, deeper dive in understanding contract vehicles that you may want to consider. As I mentioned, the MSA or the CMAS. But there's just a plethora of opportunity here for you with the state. So, and that being said, success stories, we want to hear about them. We want to shout them through our, social networks, which include LinkedIn, and we can certainly use our DGS social networks as well. But there is a lot of good things happening to small businesses. The state is really, looking as our priority to build greater participation of small businesses and DVBEs. And so we're very thankful for you and all the work that you do in creating a stronger economy and also your communities. So this is my contact information. By all means, if you have any questions that you didn't necessarily feel comfortable asking today, but want to ask in a much more private format, I'm here for you and happy to support you the best I can. And as I mentioned before, I have been a small business working a contractor of the state. So I have personal experience, and I feel very honored to be in this position now to help small businesses navigate this process. So we have mentorship and training available, as I mentioned. You can use the QR code to access an appointment through MSF or Microsoft Teams. We also, today even, at 1 o'clock, have a training led by my colleague, Wayne Gross. If you send him an email, I'm sure you can still get in, talking about profile. If you want to get a little bit more in-depth training and maybe more of the ability to interact as well with him, he will be having that training at 1 p.m. today. And I would highly recommend that you connect with us on LinkedIn. It's just another way to get updated on events, attending outreach events that the state has. It's also a great way to actually see people in person. Now that we're able to have in-person events, this is a wonderful opportunity for you to have face-to-face contact with department procurement staff and DGS staff, as we are then, most of the events that we're promoting, we are there participating as well in some capacity. So thank you again for your time. I am thrilled to have been here, and thank you to the Norcal PTAC for having us. And we love being a partner to you.
All right, absolutely. And thanks to you, Lucienne, for the excellent presentation. We've had plenty of Q&As along, so I don't have to see any questions here. I just want to note to folks that we got a couple webinars coming up in June we'd like to bring your attention to: how to do business with the government. It's an ongoing series we're doing. It's an introduction to government contracting. So if you needed a backup, or if you're curious more about overlay of the land with federal contracting and county and city contracting as well as state, from what you heard today, please join that June 9th. There's also a webinar on the Hub Zone certification. That's a federal small business certification based on geography. If you're curious about either of those topics or any of the other ones that we do, please check out our website, the calendar tab there. We'll have everything. They mostly at 10 a.m., mostly on Tuesday or Thursday, and they're always free to join. So, all right, thank you so much, everyone, for joining. I'm going to put into the chat just a little survey. If you would just let us know what you thought of today's webinar, it does mean a lot to us, so we can improve our services. And thanks once again. And just a reminder, everyone's going to be getting the slides and the video recording later today. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.